Hey guys, welcome to Z Music. I'm starting a super exciting project today, something I always wanted to try and never did. I'm going to be putting together a guitar. I say putting together, not building, because I'm going to be using a DIY kit. I just don't have the skill to build a guitar from scratch as much as I would love to. So yeah, zero experience, zero skill in the area of building guitars. I'm not a luthier, so don't consider this video like a tutorial or an instructional video or a how-to of any sort. No, if anything, it may end up being a how not to, or maybe even don't try this at home kind of video. The way I envision it, there will be probably three steps. Number one, finishing off the body. Number two, installing pickups and wiring the whole thing. And number three, just putting all the bits and pieces together and doing the final assembly. That's how I see it. So let's do it.
So this is our project. This is what we're going to be working with. It's a Chinese Strandberg-like soon-to-be guitar. Fan-fretted, headless. The body is alder. That's the only thing that I could pick up from the description. The description was very limited. But let's say alder body. We don't know any better. Looks like it has some kind of a thin veneer on the top. Looks pretty good. Feels pretty smooth so far. Then we have some hardware pickups. Let's see what we got. This is bridge. This would be neck, obviously. Toggle. And the pots. More hardware. All the Allen wrenches are here. Oh, good thing they put a cable in here, because I only have 30 cables. So good. This we may end up using for a truss rod adjustment if needed. The neck, let's see, I don't know if you can see it, feels pretty smooth, and I already know that I'm not going to do any sanding on this thing. I don't want to mess it up. But it is a trapezoid shape, pretty much like a real Strandberg. Very good. Let's see how the fit is between the neck and the body. Oh yeah, this is very snug, very tight, very tight. I like it. While we're at it, let's do a quick check. Curious what the scale length is. Yep, 25.5 right here. And 25-ish something. So good. Tools and supplies. All this here we need for the body. Sandpaper, a couple of different grades. Finishing oil, I have two types. I have penetrating finishing oil, which I'm planning on using first, and then continue with a couple more coats of the high buildup. Gloves and paper towels again for the body, miscellaneous screwdrivers, some small files in case we need them, soldering iron obviously for pickups. This we're going to need for when we install the strings. We'll probably need a power drill as well at some point, but we'll think about it when we get there. Okay, we're ready to start sanding. This is the part that I will try to complete with as little work as possible. Not because I think that the wood surface is perfectly smooth. No, you can see some imperfections here and there. Or because I'm lazy, no. It's because I just don't have this type of experience, and I don't want to end up overdoing things to where I can't correct them after that. So we already saw the fit here is very snug, very tight, and when I start using the finishing oil, I will be very careful. I don't want to build it up to where I'll have to force it in, force the neck in. There's a little spot here that needs to be sanded, nothing significant. The bridge is, my dilemma with the bridge is, since it's already there, do I take it out and put the finish underneath and then put it back in, or do I carefully work around it? I'll figure it out when I'm done sanding. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm done sanding. Turned out real good, real smooth. One thing you need to be aware of when it comes to sandpaper. So in this country, this is the most popular kind of nomenclature. It goes from 60 to 1,000 to 2,000. The European grading, for lack of a better term, starts with a P. These are not necessarily consistent, so even though it says 400, it's not consistent with the US 400. So that's one mistake I made this morning when I went to the hardware store to grab sandpaper. I did not realize that I kind of mixed the two standards together. Don't do that. As far as sanding, the 1000 did a fantastic job. Usually you'll hear start with 220, 240. The 1000 was great. I don't know if I just got lucky with smooth wood surface or if my standards are low, but the 1000 did a very good job. I didn't touch anything here on the front. Very little on the back. It was mostly here. The sides, but I'm very happy, very pleased. At this point, I've prepped it for the finishing oil. Covered a few areas here. On the neck, I covered the fingerboard. I'm going to use something different here. I don't want the finishing oil to get on it. So let's go ahead and start finishing. Alright, so this is the part that makes me real nervous. We're going to use the penetrating guitar finishing oil. I'll do a couple of coats, then let it sit for a day or two, and then do another couple of coats with the high buildup oil. So this is the part that really makes me nervous, because if I don't wire pickups correctly, I can go back and fix that. But if I mess up this part, I don't think there's any going back. So let's give it a try now. Always wear gloves when you use these things. This stuff is not harmless. I'm going to start on the back. Oh, the wood is just taking it in immediately. Here we go. Alright, so we're 2 coats in, and I really like how this is turning out. The first coat went in seconds. The wood just sucked it in. The second coat taking a few minutes to dry, but it is drying real fast. And I've already used maybe half this bottle. My initial thought was to do the first 2 coats, give it a couple of days, but seeing how quickly it's drying and curing, I'll probably come back tomorrow and use the the high build oil and give it another day before pickup install and final assembly. So this is it for now. I'll be back soon.
Okay, so this is where we are after 6 coats of finishing oil and a few days of drying. So I did 2 coats of penetrating oil and 4 coats of high build oil for a total of 6. I think the body turned out real good. I'm happy and pleased. It has just a little bit of gloss, nothing too shiny, nothing too in your face. This is the front. Obviously the color, because of this veneer, didn't change much. This is the back. Let me get rid of this. So this is what the wood color was in the beginning. This is where we're now. Yeah, really happy with the body. Not so much with the neck. I mean, the neck is just fine. However, I applied the exact same number of coats. I did 2 penetrating and 4 high build, which in hindsight I shouldn't have done anything more than maybe 2 penetrating coats, because as you can see, the back of the neck is very glossy. It's almost shiny. I mean, you can see your face in it, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing if you like guitars with painted necks. But I'm not a huge fan of that, and I should have thought about it. I shouldn't have put more than 1 or 2 coats, if any at all. If you've played a guitar with painted neck, you probably know that as your hands start sweating, they start kind of catching and on the neck, and you just can't move up and down the neck as fast as you would like to. So that is the problem there. Again, if you're okay with the glossy neck, play it just as is. My plan, however, here is to use some steel wool, super fine quadruple 0 grade, and kind of smooth it a little bit so it's not this shiny, and it's even squeaky here and there. So yeah, next step, steel wool. Let's smooth it a little bit and see where that takes us. Okay, so I'm done with the steel wool on the back of the neck. This is what I used. If you end up in a situation where you need to smooth it, just make sure you use something super fine, like 4 zeros type of grade. Turned out great. I could have probably gone a little more, but I just didn't want to overcorrect at this time. If I need to go back at some point, later on I can do that, but for now it's great. The gloss is gone. It feels much smoother. There's no stick in and nothing like that. So I'll go ahead and remove all this. One thing I didn't mention earlier when I was talking about the neck, so for the fingerboard, I use this called Guitar Honey. It's for dark woods, ebony, rosewood, that kind of stuff. I put just a little bit. Now that I took the blue tape off, it kind of took some of it with it. So I'm gonna have to hit it one more time, but yeah, looks good. I'm happy. These are the parts that we have. Here's the wiring assembly, pickups, bridge, neck. This looks like an output jack. These are all the little screws. This will eventually hold the neck. We don't need these. These came with a kit. I think they're supposed to kind of go underneath the pickups like this, but I don't think I'm gonna need them. So putting these things aside for now. It's too early for them, if we use them at all. Just a quick check on the fit. When we started, the fit was real tight. Looks like we're even tighter now. But that's fine. Okay, looks pretty good. $25.5. More like 25-ish here, the bottom. I'm thinking about using one of these strings that came just to see if the neck is straight. I hope it is, because I do have an issue on one of my other guitars with a neck that is not straight, and when I go to play on the low E, it kind of pops out. My finger pops out of the fretboard. Looks pretty good. All right, so for now, while I'm working on wiring and pickups, I'm not gonna use the neck. I'm not gonna install the neck yet. Let's start with the neck. Let's see what things look like. Push the wiring through this little cavity there.
Okay, so we have a small issue here. This part is too tight and it won't take the whole pickup. So now the tip of it, where the top screw goes, is bent. Not great. Not great at all. So we'll have to figure out a way to deal with this. First step, get the pickup out. Force it out a little bit. But yeah, this is what happened here. This part is a little too small. And now this tip is bent. Not great. Not great at all. We'll figure it out. I think I'm gonna have to file, or I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but we'll figure it out. So let's see if I can file some of it. This will take forever, probably. So I'm making both sides of the cavity, top and bottom, a little bigger. At first I started working on this one, and then when I looked at things, it looked like they were not going to be aligned. The pickups were not going to be aligned if I only did the top one. So I'm shaving off a little bit on both sides. Tried with a teeny tiny file, but didn't work out great. So let's see. Yeah, there's still plenty that needs to, like a lot that needs to go. But look at it, this one is okay, the top is okay now from what I see. It's the bottom. Yeah, I'll keep working on this one here. Okay, so what I ended up doing here was I scraped and sanded and filed a little bit here, a little bit here. I also poked 2 holes for the screws because they were kind of sticking out. So holes here, also did the same here, 2 holes for the screws, holding the pickup. Yeah, there was some collateral damage to the body, but most of it, if not all, will be covered by this piece. So let's see if I can push him in. Okay, this one looks pretty decent now. I like it. Bridge, come on, bridge. Bridge, not bad at all. They're not super aligned, but they look okay. They look decent, so I'm gonna, let's do screws now. And with the screws, my guess is I have 2 types of screws. I have shorter ones and longer ones. And my guess is these are the ones that hold the pickup here. Thing is, they only send me 7 of those, and no matter how many times I count it, I need 8. Maybe they shorted me one, maybe I lost one, I don't know, but in any event, I'm not planning on using the small ones, which maybe I should, I don't know. No, they don't, no, they don't go in too deep, so I'm gonna use these longer ones for the pickups. Okay, let's go.
Okay. So, looks like we have a body with 2 pickups in it. And a bunch of wires sticking out. So now is where the fun part begins. Wiring.